Hello, Alexandra here. This content is for folks interested in integral or spiral dynamics, and today's topic is what it's like to deepen into turquoise. You may have heard my earlier video on entering turquoise. I call it the dark night of the soul, which is in Suzanne Cook-Greuter's PDF. She describes entering construct aware as the dark night of the soul because, as Terry O'Fallon explains in her stages model, she uses 5.0 to describe turquoise, early turquoise. It can be a difficult transition. And in my case, difficult, not the dark night of the soul. But as always, when we do the parts work, when we go to integral groups, and when we have the discussions, and when we meet one-on-one with maybe some of the folks we've met in integral groups or Terry O'Fallon group, we learn things, we have breakthroughs, and things shift. And of course, this is true at any stage. When we do the work, we go forward eventually. So I am personally now experiencing deepening in turquoise. I had talked about in the Dark Night of the Soul video how entering turquoise is a place where all the parts or the triggers, the parts that are triggered, the hurt parts, the fearful parts, the parts that are suffering or struggling, come front and center stage. And Terry O'Fallon's brother, Kim Barta, and teaching partner, also talks about this. He specializes in parts work, so it can be a difficult transition. However, there is something that comes next, and when we deepen just a little further into turquoise, we experience a deepening of the stillness, the silence, the spaciousness, and the parts are much milder, fainter. They might be even constant. Maybe we're going through something, but they are quieter. And so there is a noticeable difference in going towards mid-turquoise, maybe not all the way in mid-turquoise. And I used the wonderful Giga Glossary from integrallife.com to get some AI results. I really love the way this AI result presented, and I'm going to read it to you and paraphrase it a little bit. What is the felt sense of sinking deeper into turquoise after first tasting it? The accompanying shift from doing parts work from internal family systems is to effortlessly hold your parts in a unified field of awareness. At the moment you first reach turquoise, there is still a slight seeking. Yes, there is. We're doing parts work and we want to get past that hard transition, so that's the seeking. But sinking deeper feels like parts of you still exist, the inner child, the protector, the strategist, that's the one that fixes things, but they are more weightless. They're milder, more hushed. You realize no further method is required. Simple inclusion is the practice. There's a caveat to that. I meet lots of people who are at turquoise or even beyond that do parts work just to clean things up, keep things clean. So it just depends on the person. But emotions still arise, sadness, joy, worry, but each is seen instantly as a vibration, not a verdict. The fabric feels alive, self-healing, capable of metabolizing trauma simply by being fully met within. So that is referring to, it sort of feels like there's this fountain within, sort of being spiritually quenched. It's sort of a transpersonal compassion or something larger coming through. So that's what the feeling is. That feeling deepens. And so at this depth, the parts co-arise as facets of one mandala of interbeing. Non-dual awareness, and I'll give you another word for that, communion. Technically, we don't become non-dual until after turquoise. That's just a technical thing. It just feels more like communion with something larger than ourselves as the self with a lowercase s gets a little smaller. So we see that nothing is outside the self with a capital S. So no exile is impossible. There is literally nowhere to be banished. And the Giger glossary gives the term the compassionate lattice. This is a glimpse of how Deepening in Turquoise has effortless parts holding. And so I want to share how this happened, because you can do this for yourself at any stage. So if you're maxing out, say, stage green, or you're maxing out stage yellow, you can still do the whole parts work to help you move forward. You can join an integral group, there are many, or a spiral dynamics group, and have the discussions. You can meet people and talk one-on-one with them. And I had, coincidentally, I love Terry O'Fallon's online on-demand courses. And if you take one of those, and I'm talking about the online one, not even the year-long one. The online one is called the Developmental Gifts and Confusions. You get to show up and meet with Terry O'Fallon once a month and meet some of the participants. And so I was talking to some of the participants and telling them, hey, I'm wobbling back and forth. And they kind of talked me through it because they were further along than I was. And Suzanne Cook-Greuter has said this, and Terry O'Fallon has said this, and actually lots of people in intergroups say this, integral groups. If you are kind of at late yellow or teal in integral, or turquoise, or past that, it really is essential, perhaps very helpful, to meet others like you. And that's even true at stage green. If you're in stage green and you're surrounded by mostly orange friends, mostly orange coworkers, mostly orange family members, you could be lonely. So doing these three things, the parts work, the integral discussion groups, meeting with people one-on-one, you just tend to meet people and, hop online with them sometimes just to chat or build a friendship. So when you start doing these things, you go through the stages. Even knowing the stage maps can help you move through the stages. So if you're on a difficult transition, you can really work this and help yourself go forward. I hope you found this content useful. Sending you love and blessings, and see you in the next video.